nothing. Flushed him down the toilet like a turd.
You fool! Shut up, man.
Click my balls, miss.
No.
Welcome back. I'm the Dog with more MMA talk from the Buck and the Dog YouTube channel. And today, we're not talking about UFC, we're talking about Bellator. Bellator 182 to be exact. We're going to dive right on in with the main event, Andre Korsunov versus Chiti Ninjukwani. It was a really good main event. It only lasted one round, which is always great. It starts off like an average fight. They both fill each other out, warming up, throwing a few strikes here and there. Korsunov starts getting his ground game going, has a few takedowns. Chiti does get up a few times, shows some decent defense to it. Chiti doesn't get any offense off, not doing a whole lot, and Korsunov starts imposing his will on him, still with the clinches up against the cage, forcing his offense, takedowns, a few strikes. And then, off the break of a clinch, Korsunov hits him with a spinning back fist and actually rocks of it. It stuns Chiti for a second. Korsunov runs at him with a flying head kick, almost like a Yves Edward, Josh Thompson sort of situation. And then Korsunov gets his offense going from there. Chiti still doesn't do anything, and they end up on the ground where Korsunov gets on top and unleashes devastating ground and pound. I mean, you can hear him grunt. He puts all his power into it, dropping huge elbows, big punches. It goes on for like 40 seconds, still all in the first round for the TKO victory. The strikes don't really land completely flush. It doesn't cut Chiti open or anything. You can't see any visible damage from it. But it was just so much damage, so much output and striking. Chiti, all he did was cover up. He didn't do anything, didn't look to stand back up. Big John McCarthy was forced to stop it. That was the end of the fight. A first round TKO. Great to see the former champion Andre Korsunov get a finish. He hasn't had a finish in his last three fights. Which his last three fights were good, but good to see a finish. Alright, on to the next fight, the co-main event, Brennan Ward versus Fernando Gonzalez. The fight was average, wasn't really good, wasn't really bad. The first round, all Brennan Ward, I easily give it to him. He had more forward pressure, more offense, had some groundwork, he had two takedowns, didn't do a whole lot with them, but he still had two takedowns, it's more than Fernando had. And as for Fernando, didn't do a whole lot. Can't really say he was looking for a big counter strike. He just kind of moved around the cage a little bit. Didn't do a whole lot. Also, a note: this fight was a catch weight. Fernando Gonzalez weighed in at 180 pounds, so that's not good. Maybe he should probably make weight. Certainly not going to help for the wrestling that he had to endure this fight. But either way, the first round, Brennan Ward, more offense, ground, striking, all of it. Fernando didn't do a whole lot. Now, as for the second round, it was practically a replay of the first round. Brennan Ward with more offense, got two more takedowns. Didn't do a whole lot with him still, but he still had a bigger output, threw more strikes, although Fernando Gonzalez did throw more. His counters were much better. He actually hit Brennan Ward a few times with some few very stiff shots. Didn't stun him or rock him or anything, but they were still much better than what he did in the first round. So he himself had a much more output. I'd still give it to Brennan Ward, probably 10-9. So here it is, the third round. Brennan Ward, he's winning so far. He's probably going to win by decision. Looks like he's starting to do the same thing he did in the first two rounds. But then Brennan Ward shoots for a takedown and ends up getting his head stuck right into a guillotine, where Fernando Gonzalez gets it in. Brennan Ward taps out. And just like that, there's a comeback. Fernando Gonzalez gets the submission victory in the third round. Only about a minute into it. So, good comeback for Fernando Gonzalez. It's a shame he missed weight pretty bad. But all in all, fight was average. Fernando got a submission comeback victory. So that's great. Now for the second fight of the night, the female bout, Vita Arteaga versus Bruna Ellen. It was actually a pretty good fight. For impatient fans who watch MMA, probably didn't think the fight was all that great. But watching it, understanding it, was actually really good. They would go in there and throw quick, rapid-fire bursts of combinations and strikes. Both fighters. It was like a burst, pause, and that's how the whole first round practically was. It's a lot of quick, rapid combinations. Bruna Bruna Ellen does get some takedowns. I think she got 1 or 2 in the first round, which I think gave her the first round, 10-9. Vita Arteaga didn't quite do as much as her. She still went out there and had some bull rushes, some good combinations, but I would say Bruna Ellen got the first round. Second round starts off very similar to the first round. Not quite as much quick action, but it was still there. And Bruna Ellen gets another takedown, has control of it for a while, about midway into the second round. Goes for a submission, ends up losing her position, and Vita Arteaga finishes the last 2 minutes of the round with some pretty good ground and pound and finishing on top. I'd give Vita Arteaga a 10-9 round there. So it's even going into the third round. Third round slows down much more. It's kind of like the first round, but very slow. Cardio set in. They're both tired. Still trying to throw combination strikes, but it's not quite there. Bruna Ellen probably wins that round because of her takedown. She gets 2 more, I think, and that seals her victory with a split decision win. Good fight, especially for female fights. Again, I don't usually think female fights are that great. They're usually pretty boring, but this one was a good one, so that's good for the women. Quick shout out for Jimmy Smith's scorecard. That guy, great commentator, knows how to call fights. Awesome, he gives out scorecards. It's always nice to see his opinion. Now on to the very first fight of the main card, AJ McKee versus Blair Tubman. I'm not going to break this fight down round by round, so I'll just summarize it. The whole fight was pretty much AJ McKee beating the crap out of Blair Tubman the entire time. AJ McKee threw a billion times more strikes than Tubman, even had a takedown in it, and just had way more pressure, more cage control. And Tubman didn't really do anything. He didn't do a whole lot throughout the entire fight. The only time Tubman had a chance to win, and his only true offense, was he was going for a submission during the third round. But by that point, AJ McKee had him cut open. He was gushing blood all over the place. So they were so sweaty and bloody, the submission was never going to sink in, and it was a bad position. So that was it for Tubman. So he didn't have a whole lot of offense. AJ McKee easily wins by decision. He's still undefeated. Did have some really cool flashy strikes that he threw. They were pretty cool. I mean, the talking point of this fight was probably that referee. That big man baby. That big baby man being a referee. Hilarious. And that was Bellator 182. Only 4 fights on the main card. Most Bellator cards are like that. And I never watched the prelims because I believe they're internet exclusive. So that's it for Bellator. I'm the dog, and you will hear my voice again during the next MMA event. Whether it's UFC or Bellator, I will try and do as many as I can for each promotion. So I will see you then.
For sure.